Okay, Finance IT Committee, September 5th, 9:18. Call the roll, please, Amanda.
Aaron's.
Here.
Bowers.
Yes.
Ryder.
Yes.
McGinnis.
Here.
Watts.
Here.
And Taggart.
Yes. Call the meeting to order. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? We have a second? All in favor? Aye. Carries. Public comments. Go. I think Byron Mungan is not here. Didn't have anything to report. So we'll go to Susie in group insurance.
Perfect. Well, the Blue Insight report was not ready yet for this month. It's usually after the 6th, 7th of the month, so we didn't have that yet. I am told we'll have our renewals tomorrow, so we'll know what our process is looking like. Delta, and then vision rates don't renew until 2026. We have rates based on the group life. And then the HRA will most likely renew with Envision if we're going to continue that once we make all those decisions. And then we're looking at moving the COBRA over to P&A group. Right now it's with BPC, but we administer that and pay for that fee anyway, so there'll be no change really to the accounting on that. It's just on our end, it's a little more simplified and easier to work with them. But other than that, I'm just waiting on the renewal. We should have it tomorrow, I'm told. So as soon as I get that, I will shoot that over to Jill and Amanda. And of course, we're always going to request rate relief no matter what it comes in at. So it's just the original. We'll be working it down from there. Any questions? No? All right. Have a good day, you guys.
Yes.
You too.
Okay. Want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Kendall. So I was visiting with Susie. So I'm actually currently, I'm up here, I'm enrolling Fayette County. I have several counties in Illinois, so I don't change your benefit package at all. I come in and offer voluntary life, and you may say, well, we have really great life insurance, but the life coverage that we offer is permanent, portable, and pays out till death or 100. So like Susie and I were just talking, they have a really great term, but whenever they leave the herd or leave the group, the term changes price, and that's normal because you're leaving the group. We offer something that doesn't cost the county, but that allows the individual to purchase life insurance that they can take with them. There's also a significant tax savings to the county. It's a projected savings. I know there's about 170 people. I emailed it to Amanda, but I'll just kind of show you. Our policies do not change price at all, ever. They're able to get for kids and grandkids. We give everybody $3,000 in accidental death for free. Their spouse, $3,000, and any dependents, $1,000. If you're familiar with term, it's usually a specific length of time. Whole life gathers value. If the two met, married, and had a baby, it's called group term. So the way group term works through the IRS Code 79, you're allowed to pre-tax up to $50,000. So what's beautiful about that is this is just an example of projected tax savings. And again, I emailed it to Amanda. I'll just kind of show
Yes, I'm just confused on, this is elective for the employees to do on their own. How does that save the county?
Because they're allowed to payroll deduct, and when they do, it's pre-tax, and so it saves on FICA and FUTA, a percentage.
Right, but it's an additional fee you're introducing to the, well, it's additional amount, but I still don't know how it saves the county.
We're not
money.
paying FICA insurance
We're
on it.
not paying them on the money they get. Correct?
So yes,
Yeah.
because they're choosing to pay this, so if they chose to be in
It
this
comes out
program.
ahead of time, you're saying?
Yeah. So then it's a pretty significant savings actually, and I emailed it. I mean, it's definitely worth taking a look. The whole life, I love that you can grab for kiddos or grandkids, and they can elect what they pay. So I had several people, like I enrolled the health department yesterday, so you can pick what you pay per pay period. So I had several, one of the ladies had 8 grandkids, she put like $3 on each of them, the whole life, and obviously that's gonna gather value as they age. The kiddo could cash it in at some point, borrow against it, there's like multiple options. We also have cancer and then an accident. The accident's $3 a week. It works in tandem with work comp. So a lot of businesses see a decrease in any kind of work comp claims. I have no idea what your percentages here at the county, But for $3 a week, it covers them on and off the job 24 hours a day. It's a very popular product, and just giving you copies. So we would just love to come in and, like I said, we work with several counties, so I have Bond, Fayette, Clinton, working on Madison currently, and offer these products to employees. So again, no cost to the county, and they don't ever change price. There's no physical for the employees. They don't have to do any kind of blood work. It's just 9 good faith medical questions. The only person that we can't cover is the terminally ill, meaning you have an expiration date on your life, which I know we all do, technically. But a real expiration date, like the doctor said, this is how long you have to live. Every once in a while, I'll have someone where I'm enrolling, well, they'll say, Johnny's locked up, can you get him some coverage? So I can't do anybody that's incarcerated. And then someone who's deceased, so there's the only 3 I cannot cover. My husband and I are dual agents. If I didn't introduce myself, my name's Kendall, and I was an ICU nurse for 14 years before I did this. So what we do in life matters. So we're really careful whenever we visit with the employees about making sure that it's using needs analysis, making sure that we give them what they need, and not just offer them a bunch of things that they don't really need. So if they have a really large term, we're looking like towards the end of their life, so that they have something whenever they leave the county that they can take with them that doesn't change price. That's really the purpose. Any questions for me?
I guess, is there things if we allow for whatever,
Yeah.
it could happen any time of year, it's not like health insurance and things?
No, a lot of times they love for us to come whenever you do open enrollment, but it's dealer's choice.
Yeah.
Because because of the size of the county. So Fayette County's enrollment started at the beginning of September. It will go to the end of October. First deduction will be due November, first bill then due December. So the point of that is that they elected for me to come in May, and then they wanted me to then schedule so everybody would have coverage. And then they wanted me to schedule it annually to line up with their enrollment. But every county, everybody's different, because I have a bunch in Missouri and Nebraska, Iowa. So every county's different. It's really whatever you'd like. I can make it happen anytime you want. So
what we'll do is when we have our benefits fair, which is I don't think we've set a date, have we, Jill? We haven't set a date for our benefits fair. Once we do, I'll let Kendall know the dates. She can come in with all of our other insurance vendors, and if employees want to sign up, they sign up, and if they don't, they don't. Unless there's any objections to it.
so you're saying it's
There's
what you
no
enroll
cost.
Yeah,
No cost to us, so it's really up to the employees if they want it.
that's right. And did you have participation with the health fair? Do you have a lot of employees show up? Oh, that's amazing. Okay. Do you want me to come back on Tuesday?
I don't think so. I don't think
Okay.
we need to.
I have a couple of paperwork things you and I can figure out later that allows me entrance. So that's to email or get a hold of you. I sent you an email with the tax savings as well projected
Okay.
for payroll. So
Yeah, okay. That works.
it's really nice to meet all of you. Oh, and I will leave my card. I'm also working with Watsika Schools, so I'm headed to see Dr. A right now. They're enrolling in October. It's kind of the same thing. They have me go to each of the schools, and then the teachers will come visit, whatnot. So, okay, lovely to meet all of you. Hope that you have a great day. Thank you so much. Mary.
Thanks for the donuts.
Oh, gosh, my pleasure.
I didn't realize it was like.
Yeah.
That's why I
Yeah, I'm staying,
haven't
like I said, I'm staying with my friends in the Hill. We were ICU nurses together, and it looks, like I said, looks very sketchy from the outside.
Yeah, that area is, but it's, go during the day.
Those are the best places. So, anyway, have a good day.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay, Bernie's not this month, and so I think we can, we'll just, we can go to Ida maybe and do that. There's some, Mr. Bell can get on with his day as well, so. Nice. You gave us some paperwork here. Angel?
Thank you, everyone. As you can see, we are here today to ask for your support for Iroquois Economic Development Association. We work consistently to help businesses not all over the county and work with regional economic groups, statewide, federal. A lot of what we do is a lot of places. I'll let Carrie talk about our budget. And I want you to know that we really are doing the best we can on our limited budget, just like everybody else is.
Sure.
And we do have a lot of plans that have been, actually, I've been with IDA since 2021. And as that's happened in the last 4 years, we've done a considerable amount when it comes to outreach, just on the funds that we have.
Yeah.
And we hope that you'll take that in perspective.
Well, good morning, and thanks for allowing me to speak. I'm Kerry Bell, and I'm the Finance Committee Chairman of IDA. What we have presented to you today is a request as you look at the budget process for the upcoming year. Here to thank the county for all the years they have supported IDA financially and in other ways as well. We have, since Angel has taken over as the executive director, we've gotten new energy with IDA. The director there, she's doing some things with her past history working with Senator Bennett. She has had a lot of contacts that she had her prior career to help us as an economic development organization to reach out and try and help retain jobs, bring in new jobs, helping communities in a great way over the last couple of years with the COVID funds that were out there and available. She's been a great resource for communities, and I think in the cover letter there, she's also worked with the Community Navigator Program, which brought about $334,000 in awards to Iroquois County. Now, is she directly responsible for all that? No, but she is responsible in many ways of introducing what's available out there. And from that, then funds are submitted to those particular companies throughout the county. We attached to the cover letter our budget for our fiscal year. Our fiscal year runs from June 1 to May 31. And we attached a budget for this fiscal year 24-25. And as Angel just mentioned, we run a pretty lean organization. It's a one-person shop. It's Angel doing most everything. That's the only salary that we have. But we do have some other operating costs associated with running an office. So our costs, we're estimating roughly $62,000 for the upcoming year. It's hard to estimate revenue because we're reliant upon municipalities and businesses, and in some cases individuals, to make those contributions. And you can see that spreadsheet, how that's gone up and down over the last couple of years. And a lot of it has to do, I think, with probably COVID. But we're estimating a net loss for this fiscal year, about almost $7,000. Last year, the county was very gracious in contributing $25,000 to our organization, and we're very grateful for that. And I think that maybe was an increase last year? Yeah, an increase last year. I think 17,500 the year before, and we're very grateful for that. But this year we're asking for even more to help offset the deficit that we have. We're asking for the, as you look at your budget for the upcoming year, for $35,000. Is that consideration for Ida? Ida is, it says a one-person shop, but we have a lot of volunteers throughout the county as board members. And we feel it's necessary, as this organization has for many years, that we need some coordinated effort for our county to, again, to attract employers and to retain employers and their employees. So we also attached our balance sheet, what we have on hand, and then also we developed a strategic plan back in 2023, at the end of 23, so really it's got going in 24. It's a 3-year plan, and you can see, as you look at that, what our strategies are for economic development and what our action steps are. And we spent a lot of time putting that plan together. It's being implemented, but again, with a one-person shop, Angel has many duties, and also some of those duties are implementing this plan. As board members, we try to assist where we can. We can probably do a better job in some areas. I know I can personally, to help in, to achieve the strategic plan, but it's primarily, again, the goal is to attract and retain employers and their employees for our county, and all the great benefits that result from that, as you all understand. So just here to support this application as you're working through the budget process, and entertain any questions if you have any of us this morning.
I see your contribution of $40,000.
That's what we're estimating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess in previous times or years, where you have the cities and communities, villages of the county also contributed?
They have, years ago, they were larger contributors than what they are currently. What we think and feel and hope that what Ida is doing as a result of the Angels, primarily her efforts, is going out to the communities and showing the value that Ida is providing them. And again, a lot of the things that have occurred in the last couple of years regarding the grant processes that are out there, that they will see the benefit and the value and maybe look towards contributing back to the levels, or at least starting an uptrend in what they have contributed for. You know, we have the larger communities, I would say Watseka, Gilman, Milford. Those have been contributors in the past, but we're also going, to the smaller communities in the county, the Buckleys, the Chavances, the some of those communities that Loda. We had a meeting in Loda. Recorded meetings in Loda here earlier in the year, and we try to have our quarterly board meetings throughout the county, and we invite the local officials in that area to come and attend those meetings. And try and promote what we do and how that would benefit their communities as well as the entire county. So, yeah, COVID, as we all know, that really put a dent in what funding, some of the funding that we were receiving. It didn't so much here at the county level. We're grateful for that. And yes, the county is the largest contributor towards our budget. And probably most always has been. I can remember as I've been involved. Yeah. That answer your question?
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah. We send out solicitation letters to the villages. We try to attend and village meetings, and like we're doing today, and with our promotion and our solicitation, and And we've had a little bit of success. We need to do more. We need to get out more to those villages. Again, we're thankful for what you have done and what you will do for us in the future, whatever that may be. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I do have one more thing to add. This year is the first year that I received a pay raise. Okay, so there is an adjustment in wages that is factored into just this year. And this really truly is an organization that is reaching out throughout the county to businesses, individuals, and helping in all ways, tremendous amount. So, thank you again for what everybody's doing here too, because your commitment, the volunteering part, it shows throughout the county how much people are working.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. We're on to department heads. Brianne?
Okay, so I reported in text that preliminary report proofing has been finalized. Well, I didn't report that in text, but anyway, preliminary report proofing has been finalized on our general election ballots. So now we will actually get the actual ballots for proofing, hopefully at the end of this week, beginning of next week. Early voting is set to begin on September 26th. Permanent vote by mail applications, everybody got it. There is, in the tax part of the claims, I'm not sure how they show up, but there is a claim in the amount of $10,094.45, and that is what it costs to mail those vote by mail applications out, the permanent vote by mail applications. So I'm really encouraging everyone, if you don't want to sign up for it, to fill it out and opt out. We received 831 opt-outs back and 385 new opt-in, bringing our total to 1,451. So if you figure we have to send that out in 2 years, we're still going to be sending 15,000 of those things out. So the more people we can get signed up for it, the least amount of money we would have to spend, or the more people that opt out. You don't have to sign up, just opt out, opt in, whatever you want to do. We are working on increasing reporting fee for GIS. That was something that was in Mia's budget proposal as far as asking for that increase. So the way the reporting law that is taking effect on January 1st of 2025 works is we have to give a 2 to 4 week notice in my office of the increase in the fee. And then before a resolution or ordinance is passed. So we'll do that notice after the county board meeting sometime, just as long as it's 2 to 4 weeks. Then we'll present a resolution to increase those reporting fees, the $5, for approval in October, and then effective date of January 1, 2025. I'm not sure if, Jill, did you send new budget information out regarding that 20 grand that I took out of the election?
It's included in there,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so I was waiting on grant information for my election budget due to purchasing a new voter registration program. We did receive our IVRS grant, and we were awarded $80,834.58. So the way our grants normally work is the state just gives us the grant money as far as tells us how much we have, and then we have to send in reimbursement for them. So we don't get that money and then have to pay it back. They just don't give it to us. And then it's only for specific things. So a lot of times we don't spend all of that grant money because we don't have enough that we can spend it on. But anyway, that state grant, did come through for the 80,000, a little over 80,000. Let me see. Then, while talking about grants, we're doing polling place accessibility surveys. And I am going to apply for a polling place accessibility grant for some of our polling places that aren't quite handicap accessible. I applied for one of those grants and in 2020, fiscal year 2023. And because all of you know, I am 100%, the board needs to know about everything as soon as I find it out. It was recently brought to my attention during questions on the single audit that we did apply for a grant through that polling place accessibility grant, but we did not receive reimbursement for it. So I just wanted to let you know that we did not receive the reimbursement for it. It was a reporting problem. The state has changed the way we do our reporting in fiscal year 23. So prior to that, we would just fill out paperwork, sign it, email it in. They have since created a portal through our IVRS system that we have to upload the information into the portal, enter all the information in. We had no problem with our IVRS grant, but something happened with our polling place accessibility grant and we aren't 100% sure. And we have no information entered and we have no upload of the document. Even though we have all of the paperwork supporting it, it was in the reporting. So I call it a mistake in my office in the person that does the grant reporting, but we were not reimbursed that. No. So that will probably show up in a single audit, just so everybody.
How much are you talking about?
$8,054.
8,000?
So that money's been spent, but there's no reimbursement.
It was spent on poll booths or handicap accessible poll booths for the polling places, yes.
Is it standard that we spend money before the thing's approved?
Or election grants, it is. That's the way we have to spend the money and then get the reimbursement.
So this is a common occurrence or not? Right?
It is not a common occurrence and it has never happened in the 18 years the person that has been doing the grant reporting. And we're going back 2 years because this grant was applied for and the booths were purchased in 2022. So to pinpoint exactly and not being able to show anything, the only thing I can say is it was a mistake and no, it will not happen again, but it happened, so.
What you said was that the state changed
The way we reported in 2023, fiscal year 2023, was through an online portal through IVRS. Again, everything with our IVRS grant imported correctly. We received the funding for it, and we should have received the funding for this back, I would say by no, not January, July, August of 2023. And we, again, during this audit is when we discovered it.
Kirk? We did our first tax distribution 2 weeks ago. We have second collection date coming up next week, next Thursday. Then we'll be doing, within 30 days after that, then we have to do our second tax distribution. I did find out a little more information for the budget. Jill's already got a document to you guys that the state is going to lower our the contribution to us for replacement tax by 50,000, that's what they're estimating. Maybe more, maybe less, but that's what they're estimating for this coming up fiscal year for them. And the final thing I had was I had a CD that, $1 billion CD that came due for 6 months. And I got a little over 5% for it still, so still being able to earn some good interest, so.
And the reconciliations, you made a comment before we started, we're getting caught up.
Yep.
Yes.
We got June right now, and she's working on July, so.
Very good. Jill?
For animal control, I wanna look at getting some replacement gate doors for the kennels, because they're in pretty rough shape. I don't think they've been replaced in who knows how long. The other thing is, that's it for animal control. IT, I asked area-wide for information on a microphone setup for the AV system. It was asked of me by a couple of board members, so, because they're having a hard time hearing during the meetings when people speak up at the podium. So, working on that, and then UCCI salary survey, I received that today. I went ahead and put in that we would like to participate, so then I should be getting those forms to complete that salary survey. That is beneficial, it's kind of nice to receive the UCCI salary overview, kind of seeing where our salaries hit versus other counties, so I will be getting that done as well. Completing the GAFI 96, which is a software audit. Everybody's doing an amazing job of getting me any of their individual contracts from the department heads. One thing I do want to note is researching out area-wide contract. We do not have one on file, nor do they have one on file. So I don't know if that's something that we would like to address with them as far as, you know, discussing a contract. But there's nothing on file area-wide and nothing on file here. I did ask Sarah from the clerk's office to give me a hand and look back in the meeting minutes where it was discussed at one point in 2012 that there was a contract, but there was issues because the equipment was so old, and it was simply stated in the minutes that the committee decided to keep going the way things were. I mean, it was very vaguely written, so I'm not 100% sure on what that means. The last thing is I just continue to work with CLA on the audit. They have everything from us that they have requested up until this point. So I just get trickled in emails now and again for specific questions.
Sure.
I don't have a whole lot. We did get a check for $19,000 and $34 for the reimbursement for the trainings for C.O. Longfellow, Medina, and Deputy Shinky. I did find out that the state of Illinois is going to reimburse us at 100% of the training cost of the proposed portion that they previously got. We did have an internet outage at the jail last Friday. About midnight until 6 p.m. Luckily, Adam was on site working for Lisa in the circuit clerk's office, so he was able to help diagnose and work on that. He believes it was a fiber between 911 and the jail. He said that he had proposed like a closed loop over the years to mitigate any problems like that. So I don't know where he's at on that. I think he was going to push that to burn.
We ordered some switches that he would like to, because we discussed it Tuesday, that he would like to try to see if that will fix the problem. And they were $180 for 2 switches, so I went ahead and approved that. And then once he kind of figures out where that's gonna go, if we need to look at getting a quote for recabling for the fiber, that'll be something that he said Bernie should give me an estimated quote on what that would cost.
Body cams, Axon body cams have been ordered. I was going to request a increase in the line item for Tricia Shepherd, who was going to handle all the body cam issues and the whole system. So she would be responsible for all the FOIAs, which we're getting quite a few more. And that's more than just sending the link or something like that. There's a lot of redaction that has to be done, along with the dissemination of that and the managing of all those videos. So every time an officer has a traffic stop with us in the law enforcement function, that body cam is recording video that's uploaded to the system. And at some point, those get dropped off in the system by body cam managers. So she's got to make sure that we're within the law of what we can keep, what we have to keep, and also the redaction and dissemination of the videos to the state attorney's office, public defenders, that type of stuff. So that position is a lot more than, just a clerical type position. So other than that, the arrests have kind of leveled out from last month. Last month was like in the 60s. We did have quite a few repeat offenders. We got some that we've arrested several times for like criminal trespass here in town. We were able to hold those in the jail, so it's mental health issues, so this is what we're dealing with a lot in the county. So just doing on that. Thank you.
Kristen? I'm not till next meeting. Okay, you're just sitting. Just to observe. Okay, very well. Take that. Got everyone here? Okay. I guess then we'll move to the budget. Jill provided us this packet here that has all the salaries requested. Obviously, the first section there, if we go through it quickly, is the elected officials, which are already predetermined, so that's not really a budgetary decision.
She identified the column, I'm a little confused. As far as this first column, and then this one is. Oh,
25.
So after putting this all together, looking at an average increase of salaries at 4.65%, that's as requested. So if you look at your packet, first box is your elected officials. That may change as some of the elected officials don't get their salary increases until July. The health department employees, that's listed there. That's what I received from the health department. I know it was explained that pretty much it was a 4% increase, except for they did have some positions that they increased due to what other positions similarly were paying. And then the last box on that first page has other wage decided. So we have 2 Girls for the Drug-Free Community Grant that are 100% paid for through a grant. We have the victim witness coordinator who is located in the state attorney's office. She is 100% paid for by a grant through Kankakee County. Then we have Jennifer Ingram, Eric Raymond, Alan Harwood, and Barb King. Those are set, and it states on there who they're set by. And then the second page, the first box, is the part-time county employee list. There was no requests made in additional increases for them. And then there's your piecework employees. Again, no requests made in any of the piecework employees. The third page is your non-union employees. So those are your department heads that are not elected, any of your assistant department heads, executive assistants, administrative assistants, chief deputies, and then court security. And then on the last page is all of your union employees. This includes all of your FOP, which is pretty much listed on page 1 down to the county treasurer, and those are Ask Me employees, as well as the joint dispatch is also FOP employees. And then on the following page, I gave you a listing of what we've made changes for thus far. There's the fund, the department. I gave you the title, the description, and then what the old request was, what the new changes. Items to be discussed on the bottom, public safety, salaries, and then I also have not gotten a request from mental health.
I think your math's backwards on the replacement tax, that should be negative.
Yes, yes it is. I'll change it.
Luana never talked to you?
What's that?
Luana never talked to you?
No, I never got her to, you know, get back in contact with me. So I don't have a request in for them.
It's the same as last year's 600,
Okay,
but she's supposed to,
yeah, she usually emails me.
I'm gonna text her.
So if we do that, then this,
So while you guys were talking, I made a couple more adjustments, with the IDA request. I'm logged on. Okay, with the IDA request, as well as the change with one of the sheriff's administrative assistants. I made those changes in our budget, and that 17,771 is down to 6,288.
does that include putting the revenue the other way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I just reported it wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No,
I overlooked that when I was.
it's just, yeah.
So as of now, with no changes, the general budget is still in the black, $6,288. We don't have a final on the insurance, and I do have that projected at 13%, which is the national average increase, but Susie will more than likely get that down. So there'll be a little more leeway.
Okay, where are we at, or what is the public's, so I think the main two things we need to do, or whether it's today or definitely we have to have it finalized by next meeting, and if we need to have another meeting, we could, but the two things that I think are most outstanding, well, other than all the stuff that's been discussed today, are the salaries. We gotta get a final decision on all of those. I think primarily on the stuff Jill gave us here, I mean, it's really this non-union employee one is where the decisions have to be made, right? So this one that looks like this is the one that isn't dictated by the union contracts or the elected official things. So that's the table that we need to put thought into and make a decision. Definitely by next meeting. So everyone's clear, and public safety. So maybe we could, I think I left my book in my truck. I guess what are we at on all the different requests? Public safety.
So public safety tax requests so far are for 3 clock cameras at 7,500.
How much? 75?
7,500. The Starcom radio payment. $247,952. the Starcom airtime and maintenance. $29,739. Patrol vehicles. $150,000. Central Square maintenance.
This is just for the sheriff.
Uh-huh. $15,679. For a total of $450,870. And the joint dispatch request was for, yes, $166,950 for joint dispatch.
You had it for me.
$617,820.
Okay, and how much do we,
We're projecting $500,000 to be brought in.
how much do we have? Like, at the beginning, we have like the beginning of this fiscal year and like. Or at the end of 24, whatever.
Do you want current or do you want what we currently have in there? Is that,
That's fine.
okay,
Which month is that?
August. Through August. So currently we're showing $1,068,455.
Okay, what do we got left to come out of there?
One vehicle to come out.
Joint dispatch, I think.
Yeah, so we still have to pay for the dispatch. I have not done that transfer.
Also moving forward. But the expenses moving forward are not annually recurring. The start comp 247 is not going to be recurring. Maintenance will, and probably the vehicles if this system works. This digital alerts, where something like that, the joint dispatch blocking also probably will not be able.
As we take out the rest.
Just so
Yeah, block here, not Central Square. So it'd just be a vehicle left in the
So
joint
we just put
dispatch.
those,
Yeah, it would just be one vehicle and then the joint dispatch, transfer.
You have a number for that vehicle?
About 50.
That include all your,
We've already purchased that. And what was joint dispatch, 100? Supposed to be 307, 500.
Yes, 307.
And then how much are we running at every month?
On average, it's like 40,000.
that was the end of August, I think she told us. That's what she said.
150 minus 6. 40.
What's that number, Mike?
What?
149.
144.
Tax revenue,
Oh, sorry, 144.
that's the tax revenue. Money that's gonna come in
Way
for
down
the
the end.
tax money for the.
Oh,
Okay, so I'm gonna do that.
Sure.
904,955.
955.
Yes.
And if we run it 48 times 12. So we're here today, we still gotta pay these two things out, but we should get this much money coming in before the end of the fiscal year. So then that, at the end of November, in theory, we should be at just over 900,000. Next year, we should take in, if we average for 48,000 a month, 576,000, which would put us at, before we spend any more money, 1.48 million. There's being requested 618,000.
Sales tax revenues going up.
And how much is this total again?
Um, 617,820.
Bottom, you got it done, bottom.
No. The Starcom total payments.
The total contract, like over 7 years?
Yeah.
It was 1.6, 1.6.
That we already paid then, including this 247 this year.
How much should we haven't paid any on that, have we?
No, the first payment
Yeah.
is due in December. So our first payment we do, I think they're gonna invoice us like the first week of December.
So if we do everything that's being requested, at the end of next fiscal year, there would be 863,135 left.
The end of this year, we're saying it's 904. Projected.
Which the whole problem, yeah, I mean, so we'd be at 904 at the end of this year, next year it would go down to 863, but that's because you're spending 617 and you're only bringing in 576.
We have a start time again the next year for the 247, then, is that? More or less?
That would be roughly the payment for the next 7 years.
So we're gonna have these
1.7 million total.
continued payouts, it looks like projected going forward, then. Except the flock cameras may not be a recurring expense.
For the next 5 years, yes.
Flock will, so the whole,
We locked them in at a lower rate.
okay. So the whole 617 is gonna be repeatable.
Okay, that's the situation.
It's going down $40,000 a year then.
Well, guess we gotta decide.
That safety tax can only be spent on the items listed on the board or similar items, correct? There's nothing we can really change.
Basically, I mean,
Well, I mean, you could fund them from other sources.
you could fund more sheriff stuff or the, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, we don't have that available fund, so.
what we used to do was we take money from the county farm, that would pay for the cars. This is how it was when I came on board for, I think, for a very, very long time. That was what was done.
We did transfer.
That was the capital improvement fund.
Yeah, that's the capital improvement.
Well, and that's what we would do. I think we'd take it out of the capital improvement fund, but it was money from the county farm.
Yeah, I've done my best to get money out of it.
Yeah, as it sits now, county farm has a $50,000 transfer to the general fund and $50,000 transfer to county capital improvement, if that's what you want to do.
What else is that kind of property used for? Rainy day.
Well, it has to have a certain amount in it, just,
Right, because that's.
yeah.
I mean, that would. I mean, how much do you guys keep in there? Because we haven't taken anything out of there in some time, have we?
Well, every year I think something comes out. It's usually about $100.
Yeah. Wait, I'm not saying that's. In theory, you could move 40,000 of this expense and pay for it out of capital improvements or something, but that, or some variation of that, or we gotta cut something, or figure out something with joint dispatch, or I don't know.
or cut something somewhere else, take it out of the general fund.
And the only thing to discuss there, or one to discuss is the
I
salary.
mean, the big ones, salaries, and, yeah, I mean, that's, I don't. Is that much money there?
Plus, it looks like there's some open positions too, you fill
In my office.
Well, those are all in the budget.
Yeah, there's an open, there's gonna be an opening for state's attorney once Michael takes office. And there is, I think that's it.
That's all in there.
Yeah, that's not our budget though, that's the budget. And then, the other open position is, animal control department head and some, the intern. I always put it as an open position.
Are those new flock cam, Sheriff, or that's just that's the lease or whatever?
That's the only three that we had.
Yeah.
That was agreed upon. We do have more, but those are funded by the other villages.
Yeah. I mean, quite frankly, everything else we're almost contractually obligated to, so it's patrol vehicles, joint dispatches, are really the only things that in theory and joint dispatch is, you gotta figure out somebody to pay for it. So, yes.
Well, one thing about patrol vehicles, we're trying a new technique for this to determine how successful it is and if there's tweaking that needs to take place. But it sure sounds like a good plan this year.
Well, I think that's what's held the number down, because otherwise it would have been, because, I forget his name, but your deputy in charge of the cars there, he didn't like this number.
Yeah,
He thought it was too low.
He had to sit down.
You what?
He had to sit down. He was about having a friend saying for me.
Was there any more talk about budget stuff, Charlie, at the UTSB or anything about joint dispatch or thoughts on that, or?
We have that next week, but I don't think there's any plan. They have problems with, of course, the other providers' funds. Well, we're gonna fight that every year. State's gotta do something someday. It's ridiculous. Sorry, but
Well, the other talk is to look at one of our revenues that we can change.
it's a lot of money that we put into that every year. That
I agree, but I mean, I know we can't change the dollar on the cell phone thing, no, but there's other sources of revenue tax-wise that we can change. I don't think the safety isn't as high as it could be, correct?
It's as high as it can be.
The rate,
What's,
the rate
if the rate is capped, it'd have to be a referendum to
what
make it higher.
is, there's some other tax, I thought that we only went half of what we could have. What John said.
He says that about safety tax, but I do not believe that to be true.
Okay,
It
that's
is
where I got
high.
it.
He often says we could double it or something, but that is, I don't think that's true. Or I've heard him say something to that effect.
When does this budget have to be put on display?
We need to have it approved by next meeting. It needs to be passed out here and passed by the board next, in October.
Well, that's when I would suggest we have the final discussions about this then. That 166, 950 joint dispatch, that's for the entire fiscal year.
That's,
What-
but that's,
And what was it last
I
year?
need to go get my truck.
307,500.
We're, you have those doing this whole something in here. He brought last time.
I don't remember some of the papers.
It's page 86.
No, I mean, there's Eric's stuff because he's how much are we paying out of the general fund or?
The transfer from the general fund?
It's like 160,000 as well, isn't it? It's roughly the same.
Yeah.
Maybe they are the same.
No, 132,300 from general.
Yeah, the company. We're paying 132 and so is this, what's Sika?
That's what I have in there as of now, but as I understand, their budget's not final, so I don't
think
don't
he had
have
some
final numbers
crazier
yet.
number than that. I thought he had.
Huh?
Didn't he have a?
Let's see, there's a budget on spring.
You mentioned 162,397
For the,
for the general fund.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think they were up.
Yeah, so it'd be 162,397 from the general and 166,950 from the public safety tax.
So we have a gap in the general fund budget then of 30,000 too? From
Yeah,
what he's asking for?
Yeah, according to the new sheet I got from him. Make that change. I don't know, I don't think that's been agreed upon, but
No, but
I interviewed, but we also need to discuss that item.
how much do we have in the budget for Ida right now? 25 or,
we had 25, I changed it to 35.
so those numbers you said earlier were,
That included the IDA as well as the one sheriff's employee change.
um, how much is E ETSB putting in?
PTSB on the new sheets I have is putting in, PTSB is $162,397.9. So it's the same for, he has the same for Wapsica, general fund and ETFB at 162,397.
So we're putting in twice as much as last week and twice as much as this week?
Yes.
For this year.
I thought earlier it was all equal.
Well, we've been, ever since the safety tax has come about, we've been funding essentially instead of a third, we've basically been funding half. Yes.
This is my every year reiteration that we want to grow the public safety tax and we're gonna go backwards this way. But didn't the problem with the double started with unionization of the dispatchers because we are essentially taking their salary increases out of, and the public safety tax is 0.25% period, there's no variation in it.
Right.
And so that's going to be an ever spiraling cost coming out of the public safety tax, the salaries.
Yeah.
And when that was sold to the public and regrettably, it was never supposed to be this way, it was not supposed to be for salaries, it was supposed to be for goods and materials used in connection with public safety. So, but, you know, so we're going backwards, we're not increasing our, you know, that's what was talked about several years ago, is letting the balance increase a little bit each year with the eye on the big ticket item, which is someday gonna be the jail, you know? Which is a really big ticket item.
For sure. So, yes. This is why
Not to spend
I talk about
every-
joint dispatch a lot and don't know how to resolve the issue. But I 100% agree. It keeps, it's not just public safety, that just gets called out because we can see it more clearly, but it's doing the exact same thing to the general fund, does the exact same thing to ETSB for that matter, and the city of Watsika. We're all, the county has disproportionately taken it on the chin for it, but it's an ever-growing, never-ending problem.
Try to consolidate other counties, other systems, but
Well-
no one likes that. That's been discussed in the past,
Well, like joint dispatch,
just trying to work with other entities.
that was looked into and it was actually more expensive.
There's other things. My idea, sheriff might not like it, was Polk County has the deputies, the bailiff and the correction officers help with the dispatch and stuff. And I'm not saying we don't need professional ones, but you could part of the salary problem in my eyes is that we disproportionately have to have 2 people on staff at all times to answer the phone. And thankfully, we normally don't have 2 calls worth of activity. But by law, we have to have 2 persons sitting there. My idea last meeting was, I think all these things need to be discussed, but like Ford County has their corrections officers answer the phone. Sheriff had brought up 2 months ago that you now have to have an additional officer on corrections compared to 20 years ago because you got 2 floors. So my simple idea is, I'm not saying I know what I'm doing or have ever been in your shoes, but is that, okay, well, why could we have, or some variation thereof, one of the corrections officers be the backup guy, not the main person, but if they're sitting there most of the time, thankfully, without lots of calls, could we pay one of them and then have the backup people be the corrections officers? Or, I don't know, somebody in this office or somebody. I guess we got lots of employees. I mean, if we need somebody that is cross-trained to answer the phone, to me, that would save a lot of money. If you could cut the average cost per hour down in half, we could build a whole new little shed right next to the jail to make that logistically work very quickly, because we pay $600,000 a year in telecommunicator salaries, or some very large number. And I'm not saying it has to be corrections officers, but I think, to me, something like that, it's the people in this office that are in this building that are helping out be the backup person. I don't know how you could make that work, but other counties have made it work. That's why Fort County doesn't have a massive bill.
What would be a logistic issue because now we're in separate buildings. Years ago, when dispatch was at the jail, sure, there was only one dispatcher and a correctional officer, so that logistically was fine. Sure. I would fill in on dispatch if the dispatcher had to use the restroom. You know, it's also a liability issue because when things go sideways, they can go sideways real quick and real bad. So, you know, that's why you need that second person.
Nonetheless, I don't, there's some responsibilities to investigate it because this is an ongoing problem that's only gonna get worse. And I think I've been saying that for 5 years and I don't think we've made much of an effort to look into any resolutions to it.
We have to look more at how small companies do it. We can go that route. If that's,
And I agree, we have a liability issue, we also have a liability issue if shit really hits the fan, are two guys gonna be able to do it? And if nobody's cross-trained, even a corrections officer couldn't come over and help in that situation, or anybody else. I mean, at some point, we're up shit creek no matter what happens. You could build a shed right next to the jail for the price of the half the price of the salaries.
Got one we're doing right now.
Yeah. That's gonna take a whole run. Unless.
Something you definitely gotta look into.
I'm not saying it has to be that,
It's not-
I
it's
think
not a-
older parts need to be on the table because we spend,
trend's not affordable.
what, $1 million on, we have to look at between ETSB and joint dispatch, I mean, there's gotta be $1 million a year being spent to run that, and if we could figure out a way to use people or to check the boxes from a liability perspective. I don't know what else you do when you have no money.
Another area of counties, King County, legislature.
I know one of the issues with Kankakee County always was that they were on StarCom.
Yeah.
That's right.
But that's all.
I mean, that was the big barrier to being able to theoretically not,
That was a
again,
big
I know
cost.
nothing about policing and all that and whether it would actually work well. But I'm just saying from a pure money perspective, the biggest barrier to being able to work with a group like that, or I don't know, $1 million, I don't know, is often, as it was explained to me, was the cost for the county to even be able to communicate with them. There would have been this huge outlay for
It was radio.
radio communications and things. It's a big barrier.
Did Genki change their operations center and beef that up or make that larger? Did Genki make their operations center larger or modernize it or something? No, didn't it?
They all went together because Bradley had their own dispatch and Bradley finally came in under CANCOM. So they are all under one dispatch now. For all fire EMS, police.
Feature requires small companies.
Okay, well, I don't think we're gonna decide today, but we have to, no questions asked. We gotta figure out where this money's coming from. I think there's, or what we're not gonna do. We need to get the salaries resolved as well. How in the red are we on the general fund then?
We are,
30 grand or 20 grand?
we are 23,809, and we did not ask for any transfers from the circuit clerk or the county clerk for this fiscal year, and we have not asked for any thus far for next fiscal year as well. So we can either cut 23,000 somewhere, or we can request a transfer from one or the other. couple.
At least that we typically, in years past.
Yeah, typically it was
like
30 grand a
25,
piece
30
out of
grand.
her funds. 25, 20 to 30. 1 year she did 30, a couple years she did
25.
I think she mentioned offering that.
When I first was on the board, that was the net, you couldn't balance the budget without it. I mean, like,
It's close to it, then again.
like, we need to get
So,
the salaries thing aligned and
Yeah,
figured out.
Gilman is actually on our board,
What are the contributing dollars?
they haven't yet this year, but I will be lining up a meeting with the mayor. And I know that he's been working on a tremendous, restructuring, trying to do the TIF, working on obviously infrastructure, and that's taken up a lot of his time. Every mayor in the county, every board in the county. So.
Are these on the salaries, Jill, are any of these ones like partially reimbursed or anything? Isn't there some of these that
are
like the
you looking at just
assessment,
the
non-union employees?
yes,
Isn't
assessment
like
is,
assessments
she's got
reimbursed?
specific requirements that she needs to meet to get her
But she did meet them this year.
reimbursement, but yeah, the last I heard, she did meet them, so hers is reimbursable, and she put in, let's see here. Assessment, reimbursement, she put in a reimbursement of 30,000. So 30,000 of her salary will be reimbursed. You're looking at 36.
Is it normally, it's normally half? Is that?
I think it depends on, I don't know, I have to look into it, I think it depends on her requirements and what she needs, but yes, it would be,
Well, I'm just looking at like fiscal year, she was 60,000 salary, so.
it's either half or 2/3, I don't quite remember off the top of my head, Kurt just left, so.
She had been promised something too when she was hired, but she left this.
Bill, do you know on hers what that is? I can't remember, but there was something about if she got approved or something like that. Wasn't there some stipulation when she was hired?
Yeah.
Did that happen? I think that
Yeah,
already
she
happened.
already, let me look here.
I was thinking it already happened, but
I think it's already been raised, but, yeah, so when she got hired in September of 2023, her wage went from 55 to 57.5 because she passed her exam. And then on 12/1 of 23, her wage increase went from 57.5 to 59.8. So she started at 55 and she's currently at 59.8. She's requesting 66.
okay. Well, I think we all need to think about those things. Take a picture of the public safety and dream about it. But, I mean, to me, the two things, there's only two things that can be changed. It's the not giving sheriff money for vehicles or taking that money from, sorry, just saying, the ones we're not contractually obligated to.
Horses and huffies, that's what we're doing.
Right. But I'm not promoting this, I'm just saying that these are not contractually obligated. The cars, which like I said, at one time we used to take a lot of that stuff out of capital improvements. I'm not saying that's a good solution. I'm just saying that that's what had happened. And joint dispatch and that whole thing that we've now talked about, I feel like I talked about a lot. It's an ongoing problem. And I don't think the state of Illinois is gonna raise the tax because
I think second cell phone would help.
everybody buy a second cell phone
Yep, and I'll make it.
and it'll be all right.
Good promotion.
Right.
Let's get a second line on your second
They could talk at two at once, one in each ear.
Talk to yourself.
Figuring out some kind of solution on that, which
Well, if that's the case, why don't we just write checks to the county for the price of the cell phone? We'd be that much better off.
you just pay the $1.50 a month and then it'd be a lot cheaper. Everybody pay $15 more.
But like $10 you grab my cell phone.
Right. Okay. So there's that on the public safety, those two, or some kind of solution to that. And then salaries / IDA. I think most of the other stuff is,
And then also, are the department heads comfortable transferring the funds? They kind of indicated that.
so we could deal with it. We could deal with the 23,000 negative, your finance. We could deal with the negative 23,000 with the funds, but is that what we really want to do?
Not a balance or a budget.
And it still doesn't fix joint dispatch problem longer term. So just paying for it, even if that's what we have to do today, we really need a long-term solution.
We need to appoint a little committee of board members of different, to do this. This back, you know, we can try looking at smaller counties to see how they've solved it.
Someone needs to take the lead. Yeah, I mean, not this week.
Do you wanna agree to less for joint dispatch, so I can let Eric know before next week? Before you guys this meeting? Or whenever it is, when the meeting is next.
I would say if they can come up with some more money, it would help.
Currently in their fund balance, I'll tell you here in just a second.
What's your hardware stuff?
ETSB has a current balance of $1,185,342.
So we do business.
So,
What is Watsika said about this, Charlie? Do you know?
Hey,
I'll
Charlie.
never say I recommend it.
Sure.
They're just scratching their head.
Watsika hasn't agreed to any.
No.
I could reach out to Watsika and see what they're thinking, but it was proposed last year for 5% increases with everybody, and that's why I put the 132 and some change, whatever it was in there. 132.30, I think. That's why I put that in there, because I was under the impression that everybody agreed upon a 5% increase in the contract.
You got a lot to rest of it.
I mean, looking at. Your meeting tomorrow night or tonight or? Friday. Next week. I had planned on going to their next meeting.
I would say,
Just tax everything. That's a discretionary purchase. Try to project.
What would pay up, what was that?
I don't know if anybody looked at those sheets that Eric handed out or not, but
what was the whole thing of why we were paying 300? It was because we didn't move money
he
from
wanted
here
to,
to
no,
there.
no, he wanted to have 150 for,
For sure.
equipment, something with equipment, radios, I think, and then the rest of it was for salaries. Now, my question is, he's got $220,000 in his purchase of equipment line for ETSB. Charlie, do you know what that equipment is?
No, man.
No. So ultimately, if we decide to just say, hey, we're only giving you the 132.30 based on the 5% increase that was discussed the year before, ETSB should be able to pick up the remainder of the salaries for joint dispatch, because let's face it, if they don't have joint dispatchers, they don't need the equipment.
It's 150 for the radios. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I recall, I could be wrong.
These are the expenses to come out of the.
This year.
This year.
This is,
The 307,500 is for this fiscal year.
what is that? 100 and, I would do that. What's that?
$165,375.
Oh, that doesn't fix anything. What's the difference? Tell them we're doing the 5%. That's my idea. On what comes from the the general fund. We went from 130 or 120, what this year?
120.
5 or something.
126, and then 5% of that would have been 132.30. Yeah, 132.30 would be 5%, which is what I originally had in for the transfer.
Tell them that's what we're doing, because that's probably all One Seek is gonna do.
132.30.
Is my
Live,
opinion.
and live within, live within it. They got $1 million over.
So that puts us
I
back.
don't have any idea what his budget even entailed. He's got 220,000 for equipment in there.
That's enough.
Yeah.
So that's from the general fund.
Right. And that lowers our.
So
like
that gets us
$30,000.
back in the black to what, $6,000?
Right.
Bill, we're in the black on $6,000 on the general fund then if we do that?
Yeah.
But we still need to
Sorry.
talk about these other things though too.
Yeah, we still gotta deal with that,
Right.
but I'm just saying that deals with that.
Mhm.
And then this doesn't really change that number all that much.
No.
But by doing, I'm not saying this is the right way, I still think we need to fix something with the joint dispatch, that's so that the public safety doesn't go backwards and we're not at -40 for the year, meaning we're taking in 576 and we're spending 617, which is basically $40,000. We could fix that over there.
Well, then also,
We still gotta look at the salaries and all that stuff, and the insurance, which will adjust things there. But we could move theoretically this or this from, not this, or this or the patrol, a portion of the patrol vehicles from, back to the general fund or, well, or just even the general fund, because right now we're plus 6,000, and if we save money on, if by adjusting the salaries, there's any savings there, I don't think it will get any worse. Between that, the $6,000 that we're in the black right now, we gotta figure out the IDA stuff, we gotta figure out,
Well, I put in the item,
so that
the
includes
sheriff
an extra
deputy, and we were in the black for 6,000.
Right.
Now, I also have insurance projected at 13%, and I know it's gonna come in lower than that. I just originally projected it high, I always originally projected high based
I
on.
guess my point is, we could bridge the $40,000 gap. How much is, so like if it's 11%, like how much are we talking per percent?
the other thing, it sets the tone for Eric, is if we do 5%, he's gotta live within his budget.
Well, that's what we did last year, and we had a
Yeah.
whole powwow, and it was supposed to be 5%, so I
Right.
don't know then why we gotta do this whole.
What he thought Apparently, he could change it. I'm sorry. Live within our means.
We're looking at.
Did she say what she, I should have asked her when she was here. Did she say anything about what she thought it might? She thought it might come in at?
So we're looking at 11% instead of 13. At 13, I was at 784,756, and at 11, it would be 679,215
100,000?
from the.
Did she give you any indication of what she thought it might be?
Not, no, she was hoping to get under 10. So,
We need to hear from her because,
yeah, and she should.
not saying it doesn't resolve any of these issues, but
Right, she should let me know tomorrow.
Yeah. I don't know
let's
why,
get that number first.
why it always ends up that it's part of the day after.
Right. Well, I mean, that, it still doesn't fix problems that we have, but it temporarily makes them go away. But I would still, on the general fund, it's coming from the general fund, it's 5%. There's no way Watsika is gonna go for, on that, so there's no sense in pretending that we are either. Because we had this whole powwow with Watsika there, whatever, 2 springs ago, about, okay, let's just include 5% in our budget. And so I assume they probably did that the next year as well, meaning this last spring.
Well, the average salary increase for joint dispatch ranges about, we'll say 6%. But if we're doing a 5% increase and Watsika's doing a 5% increase and all of the other entities are doing a 5% increase, that should cover it in theory.
Nonetheless, okay. So I think we tell them that.
You want me to keep it at 132.30?
Yes. And then we need to get the salaries figured out, looked at, and then hear what the insurance number is. Those are the two big things, and once we know the insurance number and once we get the salaries figured out, then we can maybe move some of this stuff, potentially these requests, we could potentially move them to the general fund. I thought that was how that's. Because hopefully she gets it to 10%, we're talking about 150 grand instead of 100, and then it theoretically move all the sheriff's truck cars over or something. Like, something like that.
Okay, so with the 132,300, the 35,000 for Ida, the 1 employee change for sheriff, we're in the black 6,280.
All right, well then, I say we stop there until we get the insurance, and then everybody's homework is to look at salaries, and we can get that resolved as well.
What?
I may need to get a copy of this for Charlie.
No, checking that out.
Okay. Is there any old or new business? Oh, sorry, claims.
Move we approve the claim.
Oh, sorry, did it? Thank you. Questions? If not, Amanda, call the roll.
Barry?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Gardner?
Yes.
McGinnis?
Yes.
Taggart?
Yes. Okay, and any old or new business? If not, to adjourn. Motion to adjourn, second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned.